Ladies and gentlemen, the ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan after a shaky start is holding. It has brought a fragile, uneasy calm along the 3,223 kilometers of shared border. But viewers, given Pakistan's treacherous past, its disdain for peace agreements and distaste for peace, India has silenced its guns but hasn't capped them. 24 hours after the ceasefire, the word from the government and defense forces is that India's punishing arm for the dastardly Pak-sponsored Pahalgam terror attack on innocent tourists on 22nd April. Operation Sindoor is not over. India's message to Pakistan is explicit. Wahan se goli chalegi, yahan se gola chalega. India's security establishment led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has drawn a Lakshman Rekha that any terror attack or violation by Pakistan will be considered an act of war. What's India telling Pakistan? That we are in the new normal and the world has to accept this. Indian military has been instructed to deal strongly with any repeated breaches. While the ceasefire is holding, the operations are still ongoing. What does that mean? This means our Air Force and Army, having successfully executed the assigned tasks in Operation Sindoor with precision and professionalism, continue to carry out the process of threat assessment, monitoring, and be in the highest state of preparedness. Viewers, remember, it was a fierce conflict triggered by Pakistan with the Pahalgam terror attack. India upheld its right to defend by targeting only known and documented terror cradles, 9 of them in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Civilians were not the target, but Pakistan expanded the scope. So fierce and decisive was India's reply that it sent Pakistan hunting for mediators to broker a ceasefire. Pakistan tried to hide the serious losses inflicted by India's defense forces with lies and bravado. Let's also tell you a little bit about the kind of damage, in fact, the impact on Pakistan, the impact of India's response with precision. Terror dens have been eliminated in Pakistan and POK. Our forces have even strategically hit the crucial airfields and military infra again in response to Pakistan's escalation. Let's now show you the kind of impact it had on Pakistan. The color red here, the color yellow here shows the military installations that were targeted. The color red that you can see, the areas that are marked with color red, they show the terror bases that were attacked during Operation Sindoor. So there you can see Noor Khan Air Base, Rawalpindi. Remember Prime Minister's message, "Ghar mein ghus ke marenge." We just repeated it for you again, what he said in 2019. Rawalpindi. Now this is the headquarters of Pakistani military and we could reach here with precision. Apart from that, Murid Air Base, Sargodha Airfield and many other such places. Bahawalpur, another very, very important strategic asset for Pakistan because it was a terror factory exporting terror to India repeatedly. All these were the targets. Muzaffarabad, Kotli, Gulpur, Bhimbar, Muridke, these two the most important ones. Muridke as well as Bahawalpur, and these were the precise targets of Indian armed forces. Let's now listen in to what exactly our armed forces, the officials who addressed the press briefing a short while ago, had to say.
The Pakistan Army has reported to have lost approximately 35 to 40 personnel in artillery and small arms firing on the line of control between the 7th and the 10th of May.
Have we achieved our objective of decimating that terrorist camp? And the answer is a thumping yes. And the results are for the whole world to see. All I can say is that we have achieved our objectives that we selected, and all our pilots are back home.
Our forces remained forward deployed in the Northern Arabian Sea in a decisive and deterrent posture with full readiness and capacity to strike select targets at sea and on land, including Karachi, at time of our choosing. The forward deployment of the Indian Navy compelled Pakistani naval and air units to be in a defensive posture.
So you heard what the officials had to say. Our strikes were precise. And what does this really mean for us as a country, and what next? What should we be prepared for, given how Pakistan has reacted in situations like these in the past? To discuss it, I'm joined by my guest. We have Colonel Shailendra Singh, retired, who's a defense expert, joining me here in the studios. We have with us Dr. Anand Ranganathan, who is an author, retired Major General SVP Singh, former Additional Director General Artillery, also live with us right now, and Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat, is going to be joining us as well in just a bit. Colonel Shailendra Singh, let me begin this discussion with you. We heard the officials today telling us the kind of damage Pakistan has seen because of Operation Sindoor and continuous escalation coming in from there. What was your biggest takeaway from there? And also, do you think this is now going to deter the enemy, and hopefully things will remain calm and ceasefire will be honored?
Jai Hind, Namaskar. When you are saying that the enemy will be deterred, no, I don't think it will be deterred. It will be shivering. It should be shivering right now, whatever has happened. If there are professional army, they will be actually, can't use those words, they should be band baj gaya hai unka is samay. Seedhi baat. Now what you were saying about the precision, we did a measured attack, we calibrated it, professionalism. Why are we asking ourselves? Let's ask Pakistan. They are the most competent people. Otherwise, and why I'm saying ask Pakistan, otherwise why will you beg for a truce, so-called truce? Why will you? Why will your DGMO ring us up? You know it. You definitely know it, that wherever we are going to kill you, we are going to destroy you, we are going to devastate you with whatever we have. And let me tell you, this is not even 10% of what we are. They know it. They very well know it. And that is where they could see immediately that what was incoming in next 24 hours, as per yesterday, next 24 hours would have been fatal for them. And that is why they went running around and doing whatever they were. आपने बोला ना घुस के मारेंगे, नहीं. I'll put it another way, my way. घुस के मारेंगे. In that map, see it. You tell me where we have not entered. वो जो घुसे हैं ना हम, आप उसकी बाकी जो states हैं उनको count करिए. How many are those? Because we have gone everywhere from north to down south. The Noor Khan, okay, fine. Noor Khan is important to them or not, I don't know. But they take it that if 5 squadrons are there, well, it has to have importance. If Sargodha, let's take Sargodha also. Very, very strategic for them. Why? You think they don't know and we don't know what is 26 kilometers away, which is that magazine which is underground, and from where whatever will come? You see, all these air bases have been selected based on that what is their strategic capability to launch. We have destroyed that. They may be able to repair it, I don't deny that. But that will take time. Had this truce not taken place, the so-called ceasefire which they are claiming, and we are saying it's only understanding to halt our operation temporarily. And that is where the declaration is clear to Pakistan that Operation Sindoor is continuing. To the world, we are straight away saying, Gyan nahi chahiye. Either you are with us in this fight of terrorism or you are not. This is a way that we have exposed the world. Whosoever dare say that no, we are not with India. They may not use the word India, but they all have used the word, including China, that yes, in a fight on terrorism, we are there. Yes, China can always say they are standing firm with Pakistan. Yes. They are. I don't deny that. But they are standing with Pakistan if there is a conventional war. Let that be. That was not our aim. That was not our objective. We went for something by declaring it. We gave you 14 days. We gave Pakistan 14 days that here we are coming. And then we have come, and selectively.
That's very interesting, and comprehensively you have explained to us, how India responded to Pakistan's repeated escalations that we saw. Ambassador Sajjanhar, I want to ask you a little bit about how this ceasefire was brokered. The information that we have now got officially, through the press conference by the officials from Army, Navy and Air Force was that it was the Pakistani DGMO that sent a message for Indian DGMO. It was Pakistan that was more keen on some kind of a ceasefire agreement. I want to then ask you, what could have been the reason that led to violation within a few hours? And what should we be doing in a situation like this? Because we've seen how Pakistan has reacted to ceasefire agreements as well in the past.
Yeah, thank you very much, Heena, for having me on the show. You're very right. You know, as far as what are the contours as to how did this ceasefire understanding or agreement, whatever you call it, I think there will be greater finality, there'll be greater, some of the contours will become more visible tomorrow when there is a discussion between the DGMOs of the two sides as to what, how do we take it forward. But I think still it is quite hazy as to how it has come about, because there are a number of speculative writings and commentaries in different countries. In the United States, the New York Times is carrying some reporting. In some other places in Middle East, there are some reporting. But I think my own understanding, since you asked me that question, let me share that with you. I think it was very clear on the 10th morning, 9th night, 10th morning, that is yesterday, that Pakistan, whatever it might have thought, thought that, it'll be able to test the defenses of India, that it had come a cropper. Anything that it tried to do, it had, been beaten back comprehensively by India. Number one, none of its drones, none of its UAVs, none of its missiles, etc., were really able to find the target. Whether it was our military establishments or, for that matter, even as far as our civilian centers of population are concerned. So all of them were intercepted by our air defense, our integrated air defense system. None of them was really able to have any significant impact. On the other hand, what we had been able to do on the 7th morning, as far as hitting out at these 9 terror strongholds and 9 terror hideouts, Pakistan had been able to do nothing against them, not intercept them. It had not really come to know what had happened. Yes. So I think this was quite clear that Pakistan was not getting anywhere. And then the drubbing that it received on the 9th night and 10th morning, I think that made it very clear. And that is why you saw this statement coming out of the Pakistan Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, that if India does not take it further, then we will be ready to have some sort of a ceasefire. And I think that is what it took to the United States. And in the meanwhile, I would say that the final 2 words that I want to add here, that the United States also got actively engaged, notwithstanding what J.D. Vance had said on Thursday. They got actively engaged because they thought that India was well capable of hitting their nuclear center. And that could really lead to something more catastrophic. So that was number one. And both Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, they started, phoning across the 2 countries. And then we had the Saudi, Deputy Foreign Minister, who came to India, went also to Pakistan, met Shehbaz Sharif, etc., etc. So I think all this culminated actually in the Pakistan DGMO coming and calling our DGMO, begging for, I would say, on its knees, asking for the ceasefire.
Yes, but I'm still confused about one thing, and I think we're all waiting to get an answer to that question as well, because on one day we heard J.D. Vance saying it's none of our business, and next day you have them literally, brokering this ceasefire, this truce between India and Pakistan. So that's something perhaps US could also, shed more light on. Stay with us, gentlemen. We have some breaking inputs coming in at this point in time. We are getting more inside details on what exactly was the turning point in India-Pakistan conflict. Top sources tell Times Now that the turning point was actually airstrikes by India on 9th of May. And the morning of 10th May, it was a hellfire India. Let me straight away go across to my colleague Madhav, joining us for more on these inside details. Madhav, tell us, what more details can you share with us?
Well, it's very clear that, diplomatically speaking, India had in fact been engaging the entire world even before Operation Sindoor happened on ground. And on the 1st itself, India had communicated to the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio, External Affairs Minister, saying that we will be hitting Pakistan terrorists. There should be no doubt. Later, when the fighting started on the 9th, it was US Vice President J.D. Vance who, in a call with Prime Minister, communicated that Pakistan might escalate. There may be more fighting from Pakistan's side, and that Pakistan, of course, wants some kind of a ramp to try and de-escalate. And at that meeting, the Prime Minister listened, but just said that if there's any escalation, there will be a very, very strong response from India's side. Just 2 hours after that call, we saw how Pakistan then launched a series of attacks, perhaps the largest till then, where they tried to target even the Adampur airbase, though that was a failure because their missile missed the base by several kilometers. Also, the fact that when this started happening, India responded with the attacks as far as Pakistan air bases is concerned, and when they realized that the kind of damage that they have suffered, they would not be able to respond in any measure. It's then that Pakistan went back to the United States and said that there has to be some attempt to try and reach out to India. It's then that we saw once again a call coming in from the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio to External Affairs Minister, and he said that it's Asim Munir who says that he will not hit or he will not fire if India also stops. That's when it was communicated through the United States that if they want to really talk, then there is a hotline existing of the Directors General of Military Operations. The very next day, then the Director General of Military Operations from Pakistan side called the Indian DGMO, and that, as we know, happened yesterday, and finally that call took place at 3:30. So this is how things played out diplomatically speaking at the highest levels. India absolutely firm. India did not bow down in any way, and it was Pakistan who eventually had to call us. And in fact, when they asked for a cessation of hostilities is when, in fact, at this point of time, firing has ended. Incidentally, the government is not calling this a ceasefire as such. They're saying that at the moment it is just a suspension of firing, and a lot will depend on tomorrow's meeting that will be taking place between the two DGMOs of India and Pakistan as well.
All right, Madhav, thank you very much for joining us and getting us all those inside details. Let me now go back to my guests who continue to be with us at this point in time. And Major General SPP Singh, I want to ask you, it is being said that India did not even bring out the big bad boys as far as our arsenal is concerned. Is that what spooked or scared Pakistan?
Yes, definitely. You see, the build-up to this Operation Sindoor has been a very well-oiled machinery which functioned both at macro and micro level. And the Prime Minister headed the meetings in a very, very smooth manner, very effectively. And that's what has carried the day for India. Now, meeting the service chiefs off and on starting 26th April was and being shown on the television, because these are all confidential secret meetings, it was trumpeted to the world that India is meaning business, and my armed forces, my chiefs are right up there. So this message was very great, and for that the tri-services, for the first time, I would say after 71 war, were together. Their planning, their targeting was bang on, and when the action took place, it was combined with the tremendous surprise and deception. Everyone was focused on the civil defense measures, the mock drill, the NOTAM having been issued, Southwestern Air Command, air exercise being on, and even Pakistan slept over it. Having done that, whatever weaponry, whatever equipment we had to use on the very first night went about just as smoothly as it could be. The 9 centers, the terrorist centers, were fully addressed, and they were destroyed to the requirement of what we had planned out to do. So that was one objective which was largely achieved. And having said that we will be non-escalatory and restrained, Pakistan did not get that message right. On the second night, they came with missiles and drones, and they got a bloody nose. Here is where India's defense shield, the air defense, came right to the fore. And here is where opposite side, their defense shield was crushed. It crumbled, as we saw what happened in Lahore. The air defense system totally crashed.
Yes.
Now, that's one big lesson which has come out, our air defense. It is fully integrated in a grid, where the automatic fire can start right from the long-range Smerch down to our air defense brigades. That's a tremendous good system. Second is that our Air Force, we have all seen what they have done, that they had to do. That was the next night. And we all woke up on the next day morning to know what the Air Force has done, and thinking that it is daytime, things may not take place with air strikes. Our Air Force struck. And here's the first night, and later Scalp, Hammer, and India's BrahMos. That is what is the second major achievement of our own equipment. Akash in the air defense and the BrahMos, both having been test-fired, fully battle inoculated.
Right.
And sending a message to the world that India's Atmanirbhar defense is right up there in the world. And we today, I feel, have emerged as a major arms exporter in being. Akash has been sought for, BrahMos is already out.
Yes.
And we are shipbuilders of a very high class. Our artillery guns, we are right on top again. 155, 52 ATAGs are there. We have got the K9 Vajras, which are Indian, indigenous. The Kalyani group, the TAS, the DRDO, they all combined. So it's a very big message. Great confidence to the country, great confidence to our defense system. And then, you know, the system, you would ask me, what has we hit back? We did not need to further go, because Pakistan was totally crushed yesterday. 8 air bases, military bases having been destroyed, their war waging capacity had been reduced to rubble. Mitti mein mila denge, they were right there. Mitti mein mil gaye. And that's why the DDM of Pakistan came begging.
Yes, and the world had, you know, the proof in front of it also to see the kind of damage, you know, Indian strikes really caused. Interesting points you've made, Major General SVP Singh. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, clearly it was a triumph of tactics as well as technology that India used and India developed. It seems Pakistan fought a, you know, war, a strong battle on social media instead, you know, of the one that it should have really fought with India, isn't it?
Good evening, Heena, and good evening to my fellow panelists. It is an honor and a privilege to be sharing the panel with such exalted experts and heroes. It really is. You know, much as I love India as all of us do, I have to say this, that unfortunately this time round, it is India that has violated the ceasefire, because what just happened 2 hours ago at the DGMO press conference was nothing short of the devastation that we caused over the last 3 days during Operation Sindoor. This was worse than the strikes that Pakistan felt that reverberated through its land over the last 3 days. In fact, this wasn't pinpoint strike, this was a carpet bombing. It makes me proud of what our armed personnel achieved, and it makes me proud to see those 3 gentlemen out there at the press conference. And I must say it also makes me inadequate that I'm not from the armed forces. I may have been good enough for Cambridge, but I wasn't good enough for the armed forces. So I have a tinge of regret out there. And entirely fitting, Heena, that the presser started with the Shiv Tandav Stotram. There, every sentence that followed in the ensuing hour was like that cord bead striking the drum skin. You know, damad, 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 it went on and on and on. And I think I must say that with some regret, that this has happened 24 hours late, because had this happened yesterday, you know, the whole country would have been not as despondent as, quite frankly, we have been over the last, one day. Having said that, 3-4 things are absolutely clear, and please give me a minute to elucidate that. Still, it is not, has not been made clear by our political the Prime Minister downwards, as to what exactly were the objectives of Operation Sindoor and whether we fulfilled them. Having said that, the presser only concretized and made us realize that the definite gains that everyone feels, every Indian feels, are absolutely there. And they are as follows. 1, the nuclear bluff of Pakistan lies condemned possibly forever. Forever. I mean, to see slide after slide after slide of decimation of Pakistani targets that they hold so close, and I just don't mean the military targets, the terrorist hubs as well, which are very dear to Pakistan, them being destroyed by pinpoint accuracy, despite Pakistan coming out with the nuclear buff. I think this is the strongest message of Operation Sindoor. Number 2, the fact that we are going to continue to suspend or hold in abeyance the Indus Water Treaty, and I would say we must go a bit further and redraw it and actually tell other nations, particularly United Nations, that we will keep holding it in abeyance unless we accept and Pakistan accepts a redrawn IWT. That is the second benefit. The third is, as Major General SPP Singh Ji has already said, our capabilities of especially the ADS have reassured 140 crore people that we are here safe and sound. Every city is safe and sound, not just the prominent cities, which is remarkable. I mean, they threw everything at us in form of drones, aircraft, missiles, their radar systems, what have you. And we came out 100% absolutely more than perfect. And the fourth and most important thing, our revised doctrine, that from now on, Pakistan, listen, every act of terror is going to be equated with an act of war, and they know this. So I think I'm just overwhelmed with emotion. What can I say? Thank you very much.
All of us are, isn't it, Colonel Shailendra Singh? Because it was only due to our armed forces and their capabilities that we all could sleep peacefully across the country while they were fighting swarms of drones being pushed by Pakistan night after night. The moment that terror infrastructure was hit on 7th of May, isn't it?
I think Army, Air Force and Navy only did their job. It was just a job. There was an objective given to us. There was a task given to us. We were just doing that. But in the process, I thought I must mention it here. In the matrimonial columns today morning, I saw a matrimonial advertisement which says that a girl is so-and-so, 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 and looking for a match. The only QR is that he should be an air defense gunner. Very simple. It summarizes. It summarizes everything. No, but with permission of Sajan Har sir, this dispute/debate is going on in the country. कि क्या Trump ने ये broker थी या नहीं? Well, sir, I'm just saying. Let us say we'll take one scenario. It was, let's say, brokered by Trump. So when at 5:30 yesterday night it was broken, was it a slap on him? Then you see, it has to be seen both sides also. That if he brokered it, then it's a very big slap on him. Let me tell you one thing. This is where diplomacy teaches us a lot. Not speaking also is a big win. So he should have not spoken when he knows that what India did was what was India's desire to do. India is nowadays not listening to you or anybody. We are only going by the protocols with a desire that there should not be a war. We respect that. We are the one who started preaching the world on the face of Russia, on the face of US, where the US had to repeat my words of our Prime Minister. This is not an era of war. I must also tell you that, okay, the support for the terror funeral. Well, let me tell you, that was not a support to the terrorist funeral. The army was the terrorist in it. There were army serving people, and I'll give a proof of that. Why? The attendance of the complete, party of army was basically because, where did we strike? We struck the headquarters. Who is there at the headquarters? The army handlers, the ISI handlers, the trainers. From where are they coming? They come from army. So obviously it is another proof that those 9 ambulances which were carrying were all army personnel.
Right. And Ambassador Sajjanhar, I want to take forward what Colonel Shailendra Singh is saying, and I want to ask you that if indeed Trump specifically is trying to claim the credit for this ceasefire agreement, as they are calling it, isn't the onus now on US, the world community as well, for ensuring that the ceasefire is not violated by Pakistan? And shouldn't there be some response to Pakistan coming in from, US and other world powers who were asking us to exercise restraint, where after seeing Pakistan violating the ceasefire within hours of this arrangement coming into place?
Heena, thank you for that question. But, my response to that would be that more than Trump or the United States ensuring that there is no violation of the ceasefire by Pakistan, I think it is the awe and threat of retribution and retaliation by India on Pakistan that will be much greater, incentive for Pakistan not to violate the ceasefire, because it knows that if it violates the ceasefire, then India is going to come on it like a ton of bricks. And that is exactly what happened yesterday. The violation of ceasefire took place for about 2 hours at different places. And after that, when Indian forces went after them, then it all quietened down. And I think the message that has gone from the Prime Minister today also, जो अगर उधर से गोली चलेगी तो इधर से गोला जाएगा, I think that is enough. So I don't think the United States has really to get into it at all. Talking about whether Trump in any way was responsible or something, they did. I can say that, Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, they would have worked the telephones, etc., etc. But Mr. Trump is a habitual, he's habituated to claiming credit for anything he does or he doesn't do, and for exaggeration. His credibility in the world is quite low. We have seen what are the sort of statements that he has made, and also, meaning he seems to be completely out of touch with the history of this issue. He says it's a 1,000 years old conflict as far as Kashmir is concerned. Meaning it's... anyone in India will tell you that, Pakistan did not exist till 1947, so the whole issue of the conflict being beyond that does not arise. So his understanding of the history and his saying that, I was able to stop the conflict, otherwise there would have been millions and millions of people who would have been died. So, he's given to all this exaggeration. Let us not take him too seriously in terms of what he says.
Trump too seriously, that's an important point you've made. Ambassador Sajjanhar, I want to give the last word to Dr. Anand Ranganathan. There has been a shift in our strategy in how we are going to deal with Pakistan. Goli ka jawab gole se. Any act of terror in the future will be treated as an act of war. And the kind of might, India's might that has been displayed via Operation Sindoor, do you think now Pakistan will think 1,000 times before daring any kind of confrontation with India? Do you think the message has also reached where it was supposed to?
It's very difficult to say, because remember, the foundation of Pakistan lies in only one preamble, and it knows this very well. It is a death by 1,000 cuts and how to destroy India. So it has that focus. Now, when somebody is that focused, and you've seen the language and the tone of their army chief, it is more than any fanatic I've seen. In fact, even Osama bin Laden would be embarrassed and blush at the kind of rhetoric that Munir, showered over the last couple of weeks. So I'm not too sure whether this is going to stop Pakistan. What gladdens my heart is that we are sure what we are going to do. And that itself is crossing the Rubicon. Heena, please remember that over the last 70 years, we've had n number of opportunities to hit them after what they did to us. And every time when we reached that point, we somehow restrained ourselves and retreated. Every time. So much so that in the wake of 26/11, when our Air Force chief besieged our then Prime Minister to bomb the terror hubs in Pakistan and, attack them with our Air Force, he was forbidden to do so. There are so many examples of that. This time, we know what Pakistan is going to do or not going to do.
Ranga,
we know what we are going to do, and that itself is amazing.
Ranga, I'll agree with you when you said that we violated the agreement yesterday. I agree with you. We should have stuck to that word, that any act of violation will be taken as an act of war. I think yesterday we were generous, and I can only say, Pakistan, we gave you another chance. You better take it. Otherwise, there is something very big coming your way.
Well, absolutely. The message has been sent very, very clearly. It's for Pakistan to interpret it, make a note of it, because now we will not talk on Kashmir. The intent is absolutely clear. Now, if you want to have a dialogue, if you want to talk to India, it will be about Pakistan occupied Kashmir. That message has also been sent. I'm completely out of time, but thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us here on Times Now on this debate number 1. Heading into a very, very short break. Debate number 2 on the other side. Stay with us.